All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, like always, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachaha Kodash. Double honors to our apostles, our elders, and bishops of Great Millstone, who will well and teach well and sound doctrine. Peace, love, and salutation to you, Akim, out there doing the work with truth and sincerity. On the brothers of Raya Allah down here at the GMS Virginia camp, back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And I pray and hope this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect. I didn't have any main topics or anything like that, but I'm just gonna flow through the spirit. Pretty much what I just did. I just queued up what World War III, happened just to see what ChatGPT says, because we know according to the scriptures, in Revelation, says one woe is past, the second woe cometh thereafter, and then the second woe is past, the third woe cometh quickly. All right, and now that third woe, second woe, and the first woe is a representation of World War I, II, and III. Okay, that is prophesied in the scriptures, and it was destined to happen because Babylon the Great must be destroyed. Okay, via through this wickedness and for the transgressions that it have done, pretty much against uh, the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Semitic. Everything that has happened within this land, okay, has to receive a proper judgment for it. The scripture says that, the sins has mounted up unto the heavens. But without further ado, we'll read this. And that says, will World War III happen? It says, it is impossible to predict with certainty whether World War III will happen. It says, right now, 2026, there are serious global tensions, including conflicts involving major powers, but tensions does not automatically lead to war. Large-scale wars between major powers are actually rare in nuclear age for key reasons, and it goes into nuclear deterrence, economic interdependence, and it says diplomacy and alliances, and it says modern warfare trends. And for diplomacy and alliances, it says even rivals maintain communication channels to prevent escalation. It says cyber attacks, proxy wars, economic sanctions, and regional conflicts are more common than direct global war. And it said that said, risks can increase during escalation between major powers such as US, China, NATO, Russia. It says regional conflicts drawing in alliances, accidents, or miscalculations, right? Because we know, according to the scriptures, that what he has but a short time. All right, so he's going to make a lot of mistakes. He's going to move a lot fast. Okay, and him moving fast because he has a short time. What that's going to cause you to make mistakes. So that's where that accidents or miscalculations is going to come into play because he's not thinking about his latter end. Okay, he doesn't realize that his next move could very well be his last move. Okay, because we know that Yahweh Shem Shai is in control of all things. Okay, and this is his movie, so everything that is happening is sanctioned by Yahweh Shem Shai. All right. Matter of fact, let me see. Slovakia. Yeah, this is what I wanted. God, it's the spirit. Um, Let me read this real quick and then I'll get the scripture. This is um continuing on. It says that said, risk can increase during escalation between major powers such as U.S., NATO, Russia, China. Regional conflicts drawing in alliances, accidents, miscalculation, severe global crisis, which is economic collapse, climate shocks, etc., etc. It says most security experts believe a full global war is possible, but not likely in the immediate future, though the world is in a period of higher tension in some recent decades, right? So let's let you know, okay, those are the key indicators to let us know that World War III could happen or will happen, I should say. And ChatGPT, they like to water things down, and we go by the spirit. We understand that if World War III doesn't happen, how can the kingdom of heaven be established on the planet Earth? Because when World War III happened, that is when the Lord Yahweh Shai okay, will make his appearance, okay, to put these other nations into subjection. So we know World War III has to happen, and we're in the final, stages, or the latter days, if you will, of this captivity known as Babylon the Great. All right. And matter of fact, let me get this real quick. This is Matthew chapter 24. And I start at verse 6. And it says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines, pestilence, earthquakes in diverse places." Okay, so those particular things, okay, are going to happen. It's going to happen in phases. It's going to happen in steps, gradually and simultaneously, because it's not going to just be happening in Babylon the Great. It's going to be happening throughout the four corners of the planet Earth, where the elect are scattered. But predominantly, the elect are going to be delivered out of Babylon the Great, aka America, known as the Scriptures. All right, and it says, all these are the beginning of sorrows, right? So when we start to see the famine, the pestilence, the earthquakes in diverse places, we're going to know that that is the beginning of sorrows. That is the pretty much phase one, okay, of what the end of Esau's world, the end of his rulership. And that's essentially what we're waiting on, because we know once his rulership is it, we are going to be delivered from our captivity, and that is what we're waiting on. Okay, we're yearning for that day. I always like to bring out the scriptures, the captive, hastening, the captive exile hastening, waiting to be delivered, roughly paraphrasing, right? But it also says, all these are the beginning of sorrows. But what? Verse 9, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted. Who is the they? Okay, you have to remember, you're going to have sellouts, okay, known as Israelites. You're going to have the 2/3 of our people going to sell us out, right? Your family, your friends, people in the world, right? They're going to have, everything negative to say about this ministry, say about the men that are teaching this word. Okay, they're going to speak evil of us. All right, so they're going to deliver us up to the synagogues and the courts and so on and so forth, and have us speak on our behalf. But what? The Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua is going to intervene, and He's going to put the words in our mouth to say whatever we need to say. All right. But what? We fully trust in Yahweh Shem Yahshua. So we know when these things start to happen, what is going to boost our faith even more, because we know that everything that has happened, via prophecy, everything is aligning according to what the Lord promised these things were going to happen. So we know if this happened and that happened, then by default, we know that the Lord is going to come with those chariots. He's going to come with that sword, okay? And he's going to be coming with the angel. We're going to see miracles and all different things. But that's the duality, of the scriptures. It has to be a balance, okay? Because what? The Lord said a false balance is an abomination unto him. So he makes sure everything is in balance, right? So it says, verse 9, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name. It said kill us. That links up with Revelation the 20th chapter. Why? Because it said many shall be beheaded, okay, because who did not worship the beast or the number of his name, or took that charagma. Okay, the elect, okay, starting with the 144,000, is not going to take the charagma, okay, the MOTB, the microchip. They're not going to take it. So that being said, we may have to be martyrs for the names of Yahweh Shem Yahshua and for this ministry. And by doing that, what? That is a secure seat, okay, on the right hand of Yahweh Shai. That's a secure seat to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai. Why? Because you died for the name sake, all right? And you can read that in Second Esdras, the second chapter, right? And for First Thessalonians, the one that, pretty much died in Yahweh Shai, shall meet the Lord up in the air, right? And it says, verse 10, and then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall arise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But this is the point, verse 13, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Right? So we have to get through all these different phases. We have to go through all these different trials, tribulations, these experiences, and these things that are written in this chapter via other chapters to back it up. We have to go through these things to get to the kingdom of heaven. But if we endure by having that stable mind, because the scripture says what? Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Okay, when you having that stable mind, meaning that you have full assurance and faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, and by having that, that is what's going to sustain you in these latter days, while the rest of the people want to be bugging out through famine, bugging out through martial law, bugging out through the robots, because you have to look at it, man. We in the AI technology, world now, man. So these robots that he's making and weaponizing them, you don't think he's going to use those on, the men of the Lord, or use those on, particular civilians? Yes, he will. He's going to target the minorities. It's going to be civil wars, race wars, all sorts of things simultaneously. It's going to be worse than any time before. All right. So we have to be prepared for those things. And the only way to prepare ourselves is by reading these scriptures, praying, fasting, getting up, bros, to stay in the spirit, and keep yourself, rooted in this faith. Because if you don't, little things are going to pretty much pull you out of this truth. Okay, little things are going to, start to add up into big things. And then before you know it, you're no longer serving Yahweh Hashem Yahshai, and now you're taking the chip and, hey, you're waiting for that destruction. All right. But pretty much going back to the root of what I was reading, concerning World War III, I want to read Ezekiel 38 and verse 1. It says, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, right? So pretty much what it's saying, Gog in the land of Magog, right? And it says, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, right? And what is it speaking about? It's speaking about Russia, okay? Russia, all right? And that chief prince, that's what Russia means, chief prince, Rasha, okay? In the Hebrew, chief prince, okay? So, and it says, verse 3, and say, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. And it says, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, right? So the Lord is literally going to put the spirit on Russia, and gather their armies, gather their, arsenal via the military force, their weapons, their nukes, and so on and so forth, and do what? It says Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomor and all his bands, the house of Togarmah, the north quarters and all of his bands, and many people with thee, right? So he's gathering all the allies, right? Libya, Persia, because the Persia that goes into Iran and so on and so forth. Ethiopia going into Egypt and Libya and those, particular lands. All of those are going to be, all those nations, okay, BRICS and so on and so forth. They're all going to be gathered together, and they're going to destroy Babylon the Great, man. And it says, verse 7, be thou prepared and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. All right. So, Salakia, let me see. Let's jump down to verse 10. It says, thus saith the Lord power, it shall also come to pass that at that same time shall things come into my mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. The Lord is going to put that evil thought in their mind, okay, to overcome them. Oh, I don't want to push the button, or, being ahead. The Lord is going to put the spirit on them to push that button, man. Put the spirit on them to utterly destroy Babylon the Great and shoot off those missiles, because the Lord's spirit are going to be in those missiles, all right? Those arrows that 2nd Esdras, the 16th chapter, speaks about, right? And it says, thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, Babylon the Great. This is the land of unwalled villages. And I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and have neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey, and to turn thy hand upon the desolate places that are not inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle good, that dwell in the midst of the land. Yeah. So they have, Babylon the Great has gathered, all those different things. Okay. This is the huge land of commerce. When you read Revelation, the 18th chapter speaks about how these other nations made so much money, merchants, oil, frankincense, myrrh, all different type of resources off of Babylon the Great via selling it here. Okay. So this place is going to become a place of desolation. No one is ever going to inhabit Babylon the Great ever again after this major destruction that is going to happen via World War III. Okay. But what the Lord is going to put that evil thought okay, in the Russians' mind, and they're going to be, because you have to realize that via the scriptures and seeing what's going on now, this nigga E ain't playing fair. This nigga doing, his allies wrong with the taxations and the tariffs and so on and so forth. You doing all these different things that's going to make these other nations bitter at you. Okay, and if they're bitter at you, then they no longer look at you as an ally. They look at you as an enemy. Okay, and once they realize that you're an enemy, they're going to take you out. Okay, and the Lord is going to put the spirit on them to do that. All right, and that's why when you read in the book of Revelation and so on and so forth, it speaks about how this place shall be, destroyed in 1 hour and so on and so forth. Because not only these missiles and the ICBMs from the other nations that are going to be shipped here to America, you also going to have those laser beams, and the Lord is going to bring forth fire, and everything is going to be amplified on a whole nother level, right? And because of that's happening, how is Babylon going to be healed? How is Babylon going to survive such an attack or such type of destruction? It's not. Okay, and that is the point, because this witch, okay, she gonna be burnt with fire, man, and we can't wait. We can't wait for that. And that was pretty much all the points that I want to make, concerning that was on my spirit, via this lesson. Lord willing, it was edifying to the hopeful elect. I want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash, and double honors to our apostles, our elders, and bishops of Great Millstone, who will and teach well and sound doctrine. Peace, love, and salutation to Yakim out there doing the work with truth and sincerity. Until next, I want to say, Kwame Yasharala, Muwafla Babal, and Shalom.